Hello and welcome to this course on Introduction to Nodejs. In this class, we will start from the reason why we should learn Node.js, how to install Node.js. We will talk about the frameworks of Node.js, how to get packages of Node.js. Then we will talk about how to build Node.js and how to deploy it to online servers. To start, we will talk about some of the tools that we need in this class. For you to be able to follow along in this class, you need to be either on Windows, Mac, or Ubuntu. You are free, anyone is okay. And you need a text editor. You also need to have a very good terminal system. If you are on Windows, I would advise that you install Git. Git provides us with a very good terminal system, but we'll come to that shortly. So, what are the tools that you need for you to be able to follow along in this class? If you are on your browser, visit or search for Node.js. Once you search for Node.js, it will take you to the Node.js website. Now, on Windows, you can download the latest version that you have for your system. So here you have 12.18.3 LTS. So this LTS means long time support. It means that the developers who have developed Node.js will support it for a considerable period of time, like 5 years, before they drop it and move to the next available version of Node.js. The current development version of Node.js is 14.8.0. So I would advise you download this 12.8.18.3 LTS. Yes, download this version. On downloading it, it will download an MSI file for you that you can use to install Node.js on Windows. Now, once you have downloaded it, just double click on the file and it should be able to install. Once it has installed, we'll come to what you do next. If you are not on Windows, what you can do, it means you are either on Ubuntu or a Linux distro, or you are on Mac. I will show you how to install both in a short moment. For those on Windows, continue to search for Git. And if you are on Mac or Ubuntu or any Linux distro, search for Git. Once you get Git, you see Git download Git Scm. Yes, so download the one that works for the version of your system. So if you are on Windows, you should download this version. Once you have downloaded it, install it on your system. Just double click on it. There is no extra step to it. Once you have downloaded it, you should have your Ubuntu, your Node.js installed, and you should have the terminal installed. Next thing we need is our text editor. So for the text editor, you can search for Sublime text. Yes, and you should download the latest version, which is version 3.0. So, or version 3, Sublime text version 3. Or as we'll be using in this class, we'll be switching between Sublime text and this VS Code. So VS Code is built by is built and maintained by the Microsoft team. So I would advise you download either of them. I will be using both of them in this class, so I'll be switching freely between either of the tools, or either of these Sublime text and VS Code in this class. So download either of them and install it to your system. So if you are on Mac, Windows, or Linux, once you have downloaded it, you can move on to checking the terminal. On our terminal, it will look like this. So this is what my Git terminal looks like. What are you looking? You'll be wondering what you're looking at here and how did I get to here. So once you have downloaded Git to your system, so the various terminals that are available on your system for a Windows system are the PowerShell, then you have the normal command line CMD. You can install this Git to give you more power, and or you can install Chocolate, right, to access multiple packages that are not readily available on the Windows system operating system. Now you'll be wondering, how did I get here? So for you to be able to access your Git, what you will do is, or the easiest way I access it, this you open your Windows Explorer to the current working directory, or wherever you are currently working on. So once you have opened it to the current working directory, what you do is, in this directory, you right click on it. You right click. Once you right click on that page, just look for the option. So you right click your on your um on your Explorer. Once you right click on it, you will see Git Bash and Git UI. Click on this Git Bash. Once you click on this Git Bash, what will happen is that it will open your Git inside this the Git terminal. Another way you can do it is, if you want to open your command line, you can access your command line by clicking on this tab here and then pressing CMD. Once you press CMD, your command line will open to that terminal that you have inside that place. The same thing if you want to open your PowerShell. You can, instead of CMD, you type PowerShell. And once you type PowerShell, it will open in that place that we have currently. If you have successfully installed your Git, you should be able to see it on your screen. It should be able to pop up in your file explorer and in your screen like this, as you have, it will pop up as you have seen currently. So from our Git, we will now confirm if you have installed correctly the Node.js. Now, what you will do is this. So in the folder that you are in, or whatever folder you are allowed to use, whatever folder that you like. So in the folder that you are in, what you will do is this: type Node. If you have installed Node correctly from before, once you type Node and you press enter, it will prompt the Node command line and the Node compiler. So if you type Node, it could take a while, but can you see it is saying welcome to Node 12.16.3. So if you can see this on your own terminal too, then it means that you have correctly installed Node. So you can play around with this compiler by doing 2 plus 2. You will see 4. You can say console.log hello, I am learning Node.js, and then you close your tab and then it will print it out. So this is the compiler. This is the equivalent of a browser for if you are learning vanilla JavaScript or basic pure JavaScript. Now, Node.js is a server-side scripting framework built for the JavaScript ecosystem, right? It was introduced in 2009, and it helps us, it offers some interesting capabilities. So we will look at each of these capability in a short moment. Now, as you have seen, we have installed Node, right? So let's come out of here. To come out of this compiler that you are in currently, you can press Control, hold your Control keyboard, Control key, and then press C. Now you see to say it is asking you that do you want to exit? Yes. So press Control C again. Once you press Control C again, it will exit out of this compiler that we are in. The second thing that we need to check is our node package manager called npm. Now, so how do we check if npm has been installed? For npm to be installed, what you need to do is type npm into your terminal like this, the same way we have typed node. If you type npm, it will check if npm has been installed in your system. Now, npm on Windows, if you are on Windows, npm comes together with that installer that you have downloaded for node. So you don't need to download any extra thing, right? So if you can see this and it is saying npm 6.14.4 or anything above, it doesn't have to be specifically this, but if you can see this and it is not showing any error, you are not seeing any red line stuff on your page, on your terminal, then it means that npm is correctly installed. So what is npm? Npm is node package manager. It is the repository. You can call it a website, you can call it a house, where there are many packages built by other developers, right? And you, if you are building a software, you are building an application, and you want to connect to Twitter. So instead of building that package, that Twitter package from scratch that will connect to Twitter, all you just have to do is go to npm, pick the best package that is connecting to Twitter there, and plug it into your system, into your own application that you are developing. So let me show you what npm looks like. So in your browser, search for npm or npm.js. Once you search for it, you click on this first one that comes along. So you are on npmjs.com. This is npm. This is the repository. It is called what? Node Package Manager. It allows us to access packages that are built by other developers, and we can use it in our own code. So for example, if you are trying to build an e-commerce store and you need to request for payment from your customers, right? So you need payment processing, isn't it? So if you are going to use international payment processing, what you will need is a tool like Stripe. Now, are you going to try to build your own tools from scratch? No. What you can do is search for Stripe here in Node Package Manager, and with this Stripe, with this one, you'll be able to connect your package, your application that your e-commerce store that you're building with Stripe. And by doing that, you'll be able to collect payments from everywhere around the world. Now, let's look at what this interface looks like. Now, this is the name of the package, Stripe. When was the last time it was updated, that somebody worked on this package and pushed it to the world? It was updated 12 hours ago. This is a very good package. There are some applications and there are some packages that they will not be updated in years. So I will show you something similar now. So here, let me show you LeftPad. If you search for LeftPad, so if you look at LeftPad, this application was last worked on 2 years ago. So it means that for this application, you are advised not to use it because the maintainer, the person that is working on it, has probably abandoned it. So now look at this. This is another indicator of if a package is good and if you should use it. Here you are seeing the number of people that have downloaded this package. So here you can see it is 4.45 million downloads. In Stripe, how many downloads does it have? It has 484,000 downloads per week. Can you see? So this is a good indicator of if you should use a package or not, how many people are downloading it. Now, another thing we should look at here is the size of the package. So this is very important when you are installing a package, because it can take a long time for you to completely install. You need to check and be sure that you have enough data, enough internet access speed for you to be able to download the data that the package that you need. So this package is 1.63 MB and this one is in kilobytes. That's 9.75 kilobytes. Another thing that we should look at here is the installation instruction, right? How to install the package. We would look at installing some simple packages shortly. One of the things that comes along with all the packages are how to use them, how to install them into your own software that you are using. So as you can see here, they have told you how to install it. So you can use npm to install a package, right? There is also another package manager. So npm is not the only package manager that exists in JavaScript ecosystem. There is another package manager called Yarn. Can you see here, Yarn? So if you check on Yarn, Yarn is supported by Facebook. It was built by engineers at Facebook. Now, the Yarn package manager is usually popular and mostly used to support React.js. That's where it is popular, but you can use either of them. In this class, we will mostly be using npm JS, right? npm package manager. But I'm just letting you know that there is another package manager for um for JavaScript ecosystem. So we have been able to see the installation section of our page of the package. The other thing that exists is where can you see the source code of this package before you download it. Basically, what you want to download is a whole package, right? The code. Now, before you download it, do you want to see it first and know what is there? That is why we have the home page and the repository of such here. So if you look at here, in all packages, there is the home page and the repository. They may be the same, as you can see here, they may be the same. So usually the home page is the website of the person that built the application, the package, right? And the repository is the code, is where the code is staying. So if both of them are in the same place, good. So here I'm going to open the home page of this repository. Another package I can show you is Tweet. Tweet is a popular Node.js package that is used to connect with Twitter. So Tweet is a Twitter API client. So what you will do is you will supply this Tweet package. As you can see, it was updated 2 years ago, but it's still very useful. A lot of people still use it. Now, what it does is it allows you to connect and fetch data from Twitter. For you to be able to use that, it means you must have registered for a developer account on Twitter, and on Twitter they will give you developer API key and a secret key. So you use both keys that you pass into the initializer, the constructor of this tweet class. So once you pass it into the tweet class, then you can now be able to fetch data from Twitter, as you can see here. So you can make posts. That means you want to post content, you want to make a new tweet to Twitter. Here you can get posts from Twitter and a host of other stuff that you can do with this package. So that is another package. So this npm houses a lot of packages. If you can imagine the package, it most likely exists. Now all the popular packages, all the popular companies around the world have a package. So we have looked at Stripe. If you look at Amazon, they must have a package. If you look at Firebase, they must have a package. They must have a package. If you look at, if you are trying to collect payment in Africa, right, then you should try to use Paystack. They will have a package, an official package, as you can see here, and or you can search for Flutterwave and many other packages like that you can use to install and fetch data, interact with their data. So with this, we can now go back to our terminal. So in our terminal, we have noted that our npm is working, our node is working, and we have been able to see how to use it. So first thing is, let's now try to enter into a Node.js application and see what it will look like, right? Let's understand what a Node.js application is all about. For a Node.js application or any application, let's go back to this place. So when you saw Stripe the other time in the Stripe homepage, because this is a Node.js application, do not be daunted by everything that you see here. Now, the first thing when you encounter any package, any package that is on Node.js, is to check the package.json file. The package.json file, if you open it, the job is to describe the package. It will tell you who built the package. It will tell you the dependencies of the package. So who built the package? Can you see the author here? It will tell you the other people that are available to build the package. It will tell you the version of the package. Basically, all the informations about that package that you need to know at a glance. It will tell you all the dependencies that this package needs for it to work. So usually when you install a package from NPM, that package is not a standalone package. It means that package is usually dependent on other packages too. So for you to use the Stripe package, it will have to download every other package. Do you understand? So same way, for you to use the tweet package that we saw earlier, it will have to download every other package that it needs, isn't it? So the package manager, the our package.json file, it will also show you the script tag. These are tags that will run when we want to check our code, right? So in the script tag here, you'll be seeing something like clean, mocha, test, lint, fix, report, and so on like that. All these are to help us to run our code efficiently. Some are for testing our code and ensuring that we are writing world-class code, and others are to ensure that we are writing code that is conformable to industry standard, right? So we have looked at a package.json file, the first file that you should look at anytime you are creating a Node.js application. So if you want to create a Node.js application, what will you do, or what should you do? So here I am in my terminal. I'm back to my terminal. What I will do is I want to create a simple application first. Let's call it first application. So I will say make directory. Make directory will create a directory for us. So I will now put the name of my directory. So here I want to say first node app, right? First node app. So this will create a folder for us inside this directory. So it has created a folder, no problem. So we can now enter into that folder. The same way, if you are in your system, you can create a folder and enter into the folder. So I've just created a folder inside here. Now, I can enter into the folder by changing directory to that folder. So I will say cd into first node app. So I'm into the first node app. If you look at this place, you will notice I'm using ls to list all the content of that folder. I am currently in folder first node app. I have done ls, meaning list. Now, the content of ns means that since it is not returning anything, it means that that folder is what? Is empty, because I've not added. It's a new folder, as you can see. So we want to create a new node application. So what do? The first thing you do is to say npm init. npm init. So what will npm init do for us? npm, as you know, we want to create a node application, right? And npm is node package manager. The first thing npm init will do for us is to create our package.json file, which will describe what is this project about, what do you need, the dependencies for this project, where will this project stay, what repository do you want to install in this project, what version of application is this project that you are building, and so on like that. So instead of manually creating a file and saying we want to create a file called package.json file, we use npm init to create that file. We will eventually not be using npm init later, but for our first application, so we can go on and do npm init, then press enter. Now once you press enter, you wait for it to load. Once it loads, it will ask you, do you want the name of this package to be the name of the folder? Like here, it's already saying first node app, as you can see here, which is that it is asking you, do you want the name of the package to be the name of the folder? You can say yes. So if you want it like that, that the name of the package should be the name of the folder that it is currently in, just press enter. Me, I don't want it, so I will change it to first app, right? So it means that the name of my package will now be first app. I'll press enter. So as you can see here, it is telling you that it doesn't want capital letters in your app name. So I will use first app now and do enter. Now, so we are done with our package name. It is asking you, do you want the version of your application to be 1.0.0? Yes. So I'll press enter. What is this application about? It is asking you to describe this application. So I will say description. This application, this is an introduction to Node application app development. So that is what this application is about. I'll press enter again. What is the entry point? The first application that the server should check when it wants to load this application. So it is saying that you want the first file to be index.js. So the common thing that people use is index.js. Some other people use main.js. So you can use anyone. You can name it anything as long as you remember what you have named it. I want to name my main.js as the entry point, the first file that we want to use in this application. So I will say main.js. I'll press enter. Test command. We are not currently working with test. We are not currently testing our application, as this is a very simple application. So I will press enter. We don't have a Git repository for this yet, so I'll press enter. What are the keywords for this application? I don't have keywords currently. Keywords that you can look at if you want to check the keywords, you can go to your npm file and you can see keywords. So if you search for keywords, so these are example of keywords that describe the application, so that when people are searching on npm, right, on the package manager, on the website, npm website, for api or credit card or payment processing or Stripe, your package that you are building will come up. So like now, if I click on payment processing, I'll be able to see all packages that are related to payment processing, as you can see here. So that is what the key word is about. But I don't have any keyword here, as we are not pushing to the website, npm website. So I will press enter. Who is the author of this project? I will say whatever, press enter. What license do we have? The default is ISC, but you can change it to MIT, meaning that it is public. If you look at the licenses that are being used on our node website here, it is mostly MIT, but you can use you can use Creative Commons, you can use anyone that suits you. So if you look at the license that is here, can you see it is MIT? It is the node package manager, right? The information you supplied that we are currently supplying in our package manager, in our package.json file, that are used to populate this place. The version, the license, the total size, the issues, the home page, the repository, all this stuff that you are currently adding to your package manager is what the NPM website will now use to create this section of your website. So let's continue. What we'll now do is to press enter. Since we are using MIT, you can leave it. If you don't want to use MIT, you are free, you can leave it alone. So I'll press enter. So it is asking me if I'm okay with this information. Yeah, I'm pretty much okay. So I'll press enter now. So what has happened by pressing enter? What have we achieved? You know, initially when we did ls list into this folder, it was empty. Now if you do ls again, you will see that it is no longer empty. We now have a file called package.json. This package.json is what has just been generated by npm init, right? So what is in our package.json? This is what is. It is a JSON. It is an object. And another way to look at it is do cat package.json, and you'll be able to see the content of that file. So let's also see this content in our Sublime text. So we are back to Sublime text now, and as you can see here, we can see our folder. Under node folder, you can see our first node app that we just created using mkdir. Now if you look at this folder, you will see the package.json file that was generated by npm init. So if you click on it, this is the content of our package.json file, right? Cool. So we have told package.json that our first file should be main.js, isn't it? So let's create that file now. Here, I'm going to create a new file inside first node app, and the new file, I'm going to save it as main.js. Main.js. So in saving it as main.js, what do we achieve? We have created a new file inside that folder main.js. For now, let's run and play with Node. Let's see how Node works. So what do we do? What do we need? For now, the simplest of ways to test if Node is working, if everything is working, is to try to console to our terminal by saying console.log this is the first Node.js application. When you save it, cool. If you save it and go to your terminal, you know that in your terminal, you know that if you are currently inside that same folder that you are editing in your Sublime text. So since you are in the same place, as you can see here, I just did ls, and if you look at the ls that we just did, it is containing that folder, right? So it is containing that folder that is first node application, first node app. So what I will do now is to run our Node.js app, the main.js app. So I will do node. We use node, the command node that we checked earlier. Then the name of the file that you want to run. The name of the file that you want to run. So what is the file that we want to run? Main.js. So if you do node.main.js, what it will do is that it means that you want to run the code that is inside main.js using the node compiler interpreter. So if you press enter, and wait for a moment, you will realize that it is printing what we have asked it to console. This is the first Node.js application. Cool. That makes sense, right? That makes sense. So it means that you can now start writing your application, your Node.js application in Node, in your Sublime text, and run it in your server, in your terminal, and it will work correctly. We have not gotten to where we are going to be using servers and stuff. We'll get there in a short moment. But right now, you should be following along and you should be at this point. Now, the next thing we want to do is let's play along. Let's see what do we have available to us. What do we have available? So here, if you go back to your Sublime text, in our Sublime text, we can just try to print a couple of things. I want to note first, before I go deep into this, I want you to know that this console.log that is accessible inside the Node.js application is not exactly the same console.log that we use when we are in the browser. If you are in the browser and you are trying to console.log, they perform the same function, it's the same idea, but it's not the same, it's not exactly the same thing, right? Just note that. So let's now look at some other things that we can see here. So what do we have available to us? So to continue playing with our code, if you notice here, we have printed out, this is the first Node.js application, right? And on line 4, I am trying to check the properties and the values that I have available to me. So if you run this application now in your Git by doing node.main.js, if you run this, you will have access to all the current content in your Node.js application. All this stuff that you are looking at, all this stuff that you are currently looking at are the files, the content, the environment that your Node.js application is running in. So here it is telling you that you are at home, right? It will tell you all the properties. So this is like if you are running this on a server, on an Ubuntu server or on a web server online, it will tell you all the information you need to know about that server, right? What kind of server it is, the file path, the language that you are currently using, the operating system that this Node.js application is running on. As you can see here, it is saying that it is what? Windows. It will tell you the drive, every information about the environment this Node.js application is running on. That is what this process.env will give us. So another thing that we can look at is the console. So let me comment that out. If you comment out the console, let me comment this other one out. If you comment down the console now and run it in our Git, so main.js, this will give us the console object, right, that I was telling you about. The console object, as you can see, the first one we have used is the function log to log something to the terminal. It also has some other things like time, like trace, like assert, like clear, like count, and so on like that. So these are all the contents that we have inside that console object. We can play with some of them now to see. So we have used console.log and passed in a string or whatever value to it, and it has consoled it. So let's see what other stuff have available to us.